Our life timelines are, to a large degree, determined by biology. Society, the economy, and governments enforce it. These timelines, not necessarily correct on an individual level, make demographic-based herd management easy and profitable. We are born into social expectations and timelines. From early on, we are trained to master them and live with and within them. We are taught how to think subjectively, how to feel subjectively, and how to react subjectively. As children, we are told what we can and what we shouldn't do. We eagerly wait to become adults in anticipation of escaping our parents' rules. Eventually, we slip out of their control, and it usually takes a while before we realize that we traded one control system for another. In fact, we are controlled throughout life by forces far less benevolent than our parents. We've got milestones to meet. A few examples. From childhood through the teenage years, we are molded to fit social norms. While in high school, we are expected to choose a career and then get a career-appropriate education. We are expected to get married and have children in our late 20s or early 30s. We got to work and acquire stuff from the time we complete our education till the age of 65. After the age of 65, we are, quote-unquote, allowed to enjoy life. Think about it for a moment. The training intended to make us fit into society causes plenty of anxiety in teenagers. The greatest originals, at least initially, were misfits. At the time we are supposed to choose a career, we don't have either the knowledge, experience, or maturity to make a commitment to one. The same goes for student loans. Few of those applying for student loans realize that they are making a long-term commitment. Fewer still understand that it is the student loan that will send them into the workforce and into the vicious cycle of lifelong work and loan repayment. At the time we are supposed to get married, many are still in the process of conquering the world and sowing wild oats. At the time we are supposed to start a family, we are neither emotionally nor financially prepared for all it entails. The best years of our life, when we have great health, looks, energy to spare, and zest for life, are spent working and getting long-term loans, like a mortgage. Once we paid off most of our loans and our health starts to decline at about the age of 65, we are free to make our teenage dreams come true. 65 is too late for many things, and yet many either start over or embark on a new career once they reach retirement age. Does this timeline work for society? Absolutely. The average person works solid 40 plus years, pays taxes, gets and repays loans, and is too tired to think or act outside of his or her immediate interests. In this scenario, each individual is a productive and compliant society member. From the perspective of the individual, the picture isn't as rosy. Herd membership requires obedience. Individuality calls for independence. To realize that your entire life, from birth to death, is predetermined is depressing. Every individual believes that he or she is in charge of their life. Once you become aware of the fake timelines, it becomes clear, like it or not, you are a member of the herd and managed as such. Stray too far and you will be rounded up and returned to the herd. Your life serves a purpose, and it isn't yours. The concept of the herd is ambivalent. On the one hand, being a part of the herd is helpful and necessary. On the other, membership in the herd requires relinquishing individuality. Lucky few are able to create a compromise that balances individuality with the herd membership. Archibald MacLeish said, "The dissenter is every human being at those moments of his life when he resigns momentarily from the herd and thinks for himself." Let's face it, the life milestone system makes for a smooth running society. All of it is good for society. Some is good for people. Some is simply not good for the individual, and yet we often surrender our values, dreams, and feelings for the sake of social acceptance. The social pressure-backed fake timeline for life milestones is an effective tool in herd management. It makes society as a whole predictable, manageable, and profitable. It also creates a herd mentality. Herd mentality is one of the main building blocks of society. It enables the functioning of a country. It supports business. It powers the economy. Crowds are needed by governments, organizations, and businesses, and occasionally the individual, to measure him or herself against the crowd's standards. To lure us into compliance, society uses crowd psychology to provide the individual with several illusions. The majority is usually right. Question yourself. Don't question the majority. It isn't so. Think of the popular support Mussolini and Hitler enjoyed. There is safety in numbers. Following the crowd is safe. Nope, a crowd can be wrong and often is. Think about extreme organizations, such as the Ku Klux Klan. The crowd validates the individual. If the crowd doesn't root for you, you have no value. Well, the majority of extremely successful individuals spend years courting the public before being accepted by it. It gets worse. Some gain recognition post-mortem, and some never. Glenn Beck said, "Following the herd is fine, until they all run off the side of a cliff together." Make no mistake, these are illusions. We are not animals, not commodities, and not just consumers. And yet, we are treated like sheep. Whether outdated, arbitrary, or biology-based, societal timelines are incompatible with our process of maturing and our lives today. The social pressure to meet the fake timelines creates a lot of anxiety and frustration. Some people resign themselves to social expectations. Some make rushed decisions that they eventually grow to regret. Some resent, resist, or reject them. The emphasis on education, socialization, and awareness of social expectations is driven by the exaggerated urgency to be socially accepted, develop earning power, become a contributing society member, become a consumer. If you think about it, the urgency may or may not be yours, may or may not serve you well. The same goes for the fake timelines. Just imagine the negative impact on society and economy had you, God forbid, taken the liberty to think for yourself or live on your own terms. The world order would collapse had you rejected the fake timelines, had you failed to fit as a teen, delayed choosing a career, explored your options, planned your life, figured out your priorities, chosen to spend the best years of your life when you have great health and energy, making a positive impact as opposed to acquiring personal wealth, aligned your passion with a career that fulfills you, decided to wait for the right life partner to come along before making a commitment, decided to have or not to have children of your own, or raise someone else's unwanted child instead at the ripe age of 40 or 45 when you are financially stable and prepared to be a parent. Chosen with which herd demands to comply. Lived your life joyously. Imagine living outside of fake timelines, herd mentality, and social marketing. It would be great for the individual. Would it really destroy the existing world order or bring it up to speed with the current needs of people and the environment? Lauren Isley said, "Like the herd animals we are, we sniff warily at the strange among us." Look at the bigger picture. Consider climate change. Do you honestly believe that your current job will be around for the next 40 years for you to retire from with a decent pension? Without the earth, there won't be us. There'd be no society. There'd be no need for governments. There'd be no economy. It might be time to re-examine the validity and wisdom of fake timelines and herd mentality. Ralph Waldo Emerson said, "The greatest difficulty is that men do not think enough of themselves, do not consider what it is that they are sacrificing when they follow in a herd or when they cater for their establishment." Throughout life, we find ourselves occasionally cut to size, pressured to conform, and restricted. Sometimes we feel like square pegs in round holes. Perhaps that's why many of us dream of owning an uninhabited island to escape to be alone on, to run naked along its shores. Stop. It's not about the uninhabited island you can't afford. Don't believe that you are chasing an unattainable dream. You are that island. You can be it. You can create it. You can live in paradise. You are that island you are dreaming of. Don't let outside forces, powered by one agenda or another, fool you, undermine your self-image, or reduce your value. No one can slap a price tag on your individuality. The world is what it is. Still, there is space within the overwhelming world to create a life on your terms.